welcome to PharmaTelevision News Review here at Biotech and Money in London in February 2015. On this show, I have Lord Digby Jones, who is now Chairman of Cell Therapy.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm all right, actually. I'm a fabulous event full of tomorrow's ideas and full of innovation, taking an idea to market. And I feel very humbled, actually, being amongst such excellence.
Right, and your background, you have a very traditional industry background. You've had multiple roles, head of the CBI here in the UK, also a government advisor at industry level, and now you are investing and taking risk in biotech. Tell me why.
Well, I come from a very traditional manufacturing background. I mean, Mum and Dad own the store in a suburb of Birmingham, right by the Austin Motor Company.
Right.
And then I became a lawyer in Birmingham, so all the clients made things. And to move from that into a plural existence, so I chair 2 or 3 manufacturing companies. I advise some pretty big businesses. And then I always, in my portfolio, I'm really keen to have 2 or 3 businesses which are very small startup businesses. One, it keeps your feet on the ground, so you don't go in the bubble. Secondly, you understand the issues of small businesses and startups, which are totally different to the issues of big businesses. And thirdly, they are more nimble, more flexible, and they're more on the agenda of tomorrow. I mean, the world and this country needs BP, Aon, Babcock, Jaguar, JCB, all of which I advise. Of course they do. But the business of this nation will grow and develop through the small business, through taking risk, putting reputation, talent, hard work, and money on the line. And I don't just want to sit on shows like yours and talk about it. I actually want to be there and do it. And so I was introduced to Ajahn Reginald, who has put this company together, stem cell research with heart therapy.
Yeah.
And I thought, I really want to learn about this. I'll bring what little talent and what few connections I have to the game and my business experience. But then I don't just want to be a non-playing captain. I also want to put a bit of money at risk so that I actually can feel the pain and feel the gain as well.
Right.
So I sit before you today, actually not just saying, isn't this wonderful, but actually I'm in it. I'm in it up to here. And I have to say I'm thoroughly enjoying it too. I learn something new every day.
So, of course, there's an element of fun in this, but at the end it's also significant because it could change the lives of patients as well.
Yes.
And so the prize is not just the investment, but actually seeing the therapy making its way to...
I mean, it ticks so many boxes. I mean, it came out of, a Nobel laureate, it's Martin Evans, and Cardiff University and all of that. It came out of, Ajahns parents weren't born in this country, so there's an element of Britain being an open society to people regardless of the colour of your skin or the God you worship or what your name is. You're welcome. Bring your hard work, bring your risk, come and work hard. It brings also the ability to actually make money. We've had a fabulous crowdcube funding
quite amazing
project. Amazing. I mean, 3 or 4 times more than we thought we'd get. Those people haven't done it for charity. They've done it to make money, and God bless them. And then also, there is the compassionate side of it, which is that if you can turn the fusion of all of that and save lives, physically save someone's life. If you can pull that off together, then you tick a lot of boxes. And all I'd say to politicians in this run-up to the general election, at a time when you get rhetoric and you get all this polemicism, I really would say, if you looked at something like cell therapy, don't decry business. Don't start saying, wealth creation is bad, because actually, if it wasn't for the risk that all these investors are taking, if it wasn't for the fabulous, innovative and hard work and research and development, then you wouldn't save lives. That's not about the public sector on its own. That's about private sector being very good, working with the public sector to change someone's life and make some money along the way. What can be wrong with that?
So, but also the important thing, your background, big industry in this country. It's all about people as well. It's money and people together, working together. So, but this is different in the sense that this is at the very early stages. Maybe this could be the new Britain in going forward.
I think more than maybe. I think this will be an essential part of New Britain. By the way, not just cell therapy, but many companies like it. The New Britain has to be a globally aspected, innovative, branded, quality, value-added end of the game. You can't make or do something that sells on price. because frankly, China will have your lunch and India will have your dinner. So you've got to do it at the value-added end of the chain. So do we need JLR making motor to sell around? Well, you bet we do. But at the same time, we need, I mean, here we are in Bishopsgate, we need the financial services community to be world class. You bet we do. But at the same time, whether it's goods or services, this type of business, this type of research, this type of development in business is tomorrow. And Britain has got to be there right in the middle of it. It's interesting, you know, but if you look at where the next 25 years is going to be, it's going to be a globalized economy with stuff like serotherapy and what it does, actually fusing this all together to put Britain on the map. It's not going to be just one thing. It's going to be this exploitation development of knowledge and then transferring it into the need equation.
But also, isn't it also the young people? I mean, it's the youth as well. I mean, it's getting that educated youth and partly non-educated youth motivated enough to take on that risk, to drive these innovations and technologies forward.
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, one of the great challenges of the Western world is that you're beginning to get unemployable people, which are people who can't read, write, can't operate a computer, let alone anything else, and at the same time are getting older society, where they're actually living longer, so they'll have these diseases and issues that would have killed them years ago. Now, how society can blend those two together means that you need to major on creating wealth, and you need to make it including all of society on the journey, and at the same time, it has to be a force for good. Now, if you can blend all of that in one business and put a big mouth and a big head in as chairman of it, so you can get it out into the public gaze and politicians' gaze, as well as making sure that the science is good and it works and it does what it says on the tin, then the country has a chance.
Right.
And what is so important about this, and it's why I put my name to this and why I'm proud to be chairman, is that you can have the cleverest people on earth, you can have quality science, but if you don't actually run it according to conventional business credentials and rules, you will fail. You know,
Right.
It has to be a fusion of the two.
You've mentioned a couple of things. Just one final question for you. We have a general election coming up. There is a politics element to this. From your point of view, with all your experience, being an advisor even to a previous Labour government, what essential things should the future government, whether it's a Labour or a Conservative or a coalition, what do you see they need to do to get right to make sure that companies like cell therapy and others that are based here, what do they need to do?
Well, I am the only person they've ever had in this country who was a minister in a government, and I didn't belong to the party of government. I've never belonged to a political party in my life. Business is my constituency. I'm an independent peer in the House of Lords, crossbench. And so I say this to you without any tribalism. There is no political ideology in my soul. I'm talking about wealth creation and business. And what I'm saying is to all the politicians of all parties, if you don't get behind wealth creation, if you don't stand up and say making a profit is good, if you don't stop this idea that for some reason anybody wants to reform the way we deal with healthcare in this country, immediately goes, oh, privatisation, instead of thinking, well, there are some ideas here that we can use, because I do know that the current way of treating healthcare in this country will fail, because we've got a growing population getting older and a diminishing tax base. So, I mean, it's going to fail. So we have to do it differently. So what I would say to a politician is get behind business, stand up, be proud of making a profit, and then accept the fact that certain business models in the public sector don't work, and you've got to have a different way of doing it.
And just one other element to that, wealth creation, sometimes confused that wealth creation is for the wealthy.
Yeah.
When we talk about wealth creation, we're talking about still making the poor wealthy.
Well,
And I think that's the confusion, isn't it?
Yeah, I can tell
The
you,
communication.
at board meetings of cell therapy, the first two things we do is we look at health and safety and the environment. So we deal with issues that people will go, well, that's not what wealth creation is about. Oh, yes, it is, because it's part of society. Next up, we make sure that the clever people, the science, we have a box called science, and there's a report every month. So it's not just about making the money, it's about developing the product. There's a box called how are we doing on corporate governance to make sure that we're good at obeying all the rules and making sure that in a regulated environment we're doing it properly. Then we talk about how we make money out of this, and it's in that order. So politicians have got to understand 99.9% of businesses in this country are good, decent, hard-working women and good, decent, hard-working men setting about creating jobs, generating profit, paying tax, which builds schools and hospitals. It's not the stuff that you hear that politicians love to do to smack business on their head. And if politicians don't get behind creating wealth for everybody, this isn't about rewarding the wealthy with more. It's about getting the unemployed into a job. It's about getting a school that works because tax is generated to pay for it. And it's about making sure that people understand skill up, earn money. It's not about just taking a rich investor and making more for them.
Lord Digby Jones, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Lovely to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you.